Past players, past legends, past legends.
I would also,
one.
yeah, keep going in terms of your regard. Look, let's go to your glory year in '88.
Yeah.
God, is there anything you didn't do? So you're Sturt captain, Sturt best and fairest 87, 88, McGarry medal in '88, and then All Australian selection
Well,
at the
that,
end of the year. Go through '88, Whittles, because you did everything.
I have to refresh you with that 88. That was a pre-season comp. The Bicentennial Carnival was in
that?
March.
Oh, okay, yes, that's right.
And that's probably what got me probably start. Like it was just an unreal carnival.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, I don't know where it came from, but yeah, we all got together. Like, and that was a pre-season. I still remember the pre-season concert. It wasn't a carnival, and there was two divisions.
Yes.
And we knocked off. So that must be instead of having a pre-season comp, I reckon we must have had a.
Well, we beat Victoria by 10 goals in the grand final. Bizarrely, there was only 18,000 people there
at Footy Park.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh, no. And that, I reckon that did set my season up, like I just found, like half back, I don't know, I was fit, captain of Sturt, we had pretty talented guys. We'd been together for a while, 85, 86 were around the mark, we've got a few from Mildura in to just bolster our talent and, and the Shackies and, Popplestones that came in from country Victoria, McWilliam, Scotty Rutt. I still had our juniors coming through, Scotty Fields in there, but we just were a young side that just kept building and building. And unfortunately, like as a personal thing, it was just, we fell out, we fell out in the elimination final and Mad Monday and then McGarry medal. And I rocked up thinking Scotty Russell was going to bowl the most for us. And I walked out with, had to sober up pretty quick with a coffee and a orange juice and do a speech. And then for the next 3 days, it was kind of party for the next few weeks until, unfortunately, that's when then Merv got sacked and it kind of put a bit of a scissor on that kind of stuff. So we had to start again. But I don't know. It was just a timing thing. We all played our roles in it, like McGarry medals I keep saying to the guys, I could swap this over for a senior premiership medal any day in the world. I know it's a personal thing, but you don't get them just it's not like playing tennis or 8 ball or anything like that. Like you need a lot of support. So it was just one of those years that really everything just fell into place. So yeah.
Can I just go back one step before 87 and 88 where you had an absolute blinder? In 86, you're actually drafted to the VFL at number 56. Do you know who the player was that was drafted before you?
No, but I'm sure you'll tell me.
I am. I'm going to tell you one. D. Jarman.
Right.
He was at 55 and you're at 56.
So who was chasing him then? Because I would have been
Brisbane, wasn't it? Yeah.
Brisbane, because I was Richmond. I flew over there, and I was that close to signing with Richmond.
Yeah, I thought you were Richmond originally. Yeah,
and that's when Tony Jewell and Kevin Bartlett. Tony Jewell just got and Kevin Bartlett taken over, and the only thing that really, it was not a timing thing. It was just that the retention scheme came in for the SNFL, and it was just probably I wasn't quite ready to go. A lot of people said, "Oh, you should have gone, and it's a bit like 91 with the Crows. Why didn't you say the Crows instead of going to Hawthorn? But that was a bit of a different format with that. But I was very close to signing with Richmond. I went over for a weekend and came back, and I was almost pretty. But then I had a bit of a talk with the SNFL with the retention scheme, and I was one of the first ones to go on that. And I went away for a week to Bali with and I really just made a decision out there away from everything, and came back and decided to stay with Sturt and the SNFL, hoping that the license would come in a little bit earlier than probably it did, but and then these things happened again. I got redrafted again at a mature age back in 80, after 88, 89 with Hawthorn. So but they're all great times, if buts, and but you can't look back at decisions you made and thinking what if, because you can't change any of that. So,
was 86 part of that Form 4 era, or was that just as the SANFL were fading out into the retention scheme?
Yeah, no, that was still a draft. It was a Form 4, but it was just milky,
And it was a bit pot luck. You sort of didn't find out. It wasn't like they'd chase you and like you'd open up the paper. Like I reckon KT opened up the paper and found out I think he was Melbourne originally. Yeah.
It wasn't so much managers back then we hardly had any managers.
Yeah.
It was probably more phone calls from Mervyn or contacts from coaches or clubs to clubs kind of set up like how it was done back then. But whereas the Hawthorn one was a bit, in the 88, 89 was very much, mature over. Well, back then it wasn't for Hawthorn, it wasn't for all the top guys to top clubs to get any stronger. So there was no advantage so they were looking at mature age players. Then you're 24, 25-year-olds, not your past one like they do now. So.
What was your time? I know you were only at Hawthorn for 1 year and 4 games.
2 years, but that was a great time.
Okay.
I just probably needed a bit of fresh air too over what happened. A lot of people said, why didn't I play for the Crows? But back then, I think there was about a 4-week window where
that's right. Yeah,
and I got the license, and I either had to go to Hawthorn or some. Causey wasn't even coached. So there was Tony Curls and they're saying, you got to be this one on. You'll be right. We're going to get it sorted together. But not as a selfish thing. I thought, hell, if we're going to play a premiership team, how quick, how much have I got left, But then I go to Hawthorn and Michael Tuck, Gary Ayres, Andy Collins, raging, all Australian, Langford.
Yeah.
Gee, how am I going to break into that? And the games I played was when they were managing Tucky and all that kind of setup. But it was still a great experience. Like the year I went over there, new lease of life, new environment. I was playing in the reserves. I won the BNF in the reserve playing with Dipper, Peter Curran, John Kennedy Jr.
It's pretty handy reserve side.
Well, it was. But that's what they did. That was the Hawthorn way back then.
Yes, it was. You played a truckload of reserves before you got big.
You had to pay 100 reserve codes before you. And but as a club, they looked at me. Alan Joyce was a coach. He said after the first year, I know you're probably disappointed. You're up in the grandstand. Jars was out in 91 when they won it at Waverley.
Yeah.
And you're going, you're close. But, do you want to try one more year? And I did. But then I had a few injuries in pre-season. And once you get behind and stuff like that, it's just, it was just hard. And that's when midway through the year, I knew that I'd be either coming back home to the farm or other options were going to.
You could have done. You could have done the singing instead of Angry Anderson at the grand final. Whittles, you would have been just as good at that. Jesus.
No, well, you know what my voice is like. It's been like this for about 40 years, and everyone's gone.
Would have been better than Meatloaf.
They were the couple of bombs. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well. No,
so what happened? How come back to Glenelg instead of Sturt?
Yeah, well,
what happened there?
Well, I had a chat with Hayden Button and Dave Edwards came over.
Yep.
Because they were coaching Sturt at the time.
Yep.
And Hayden was doing a bit of a rebuilding stage, and he said, it'll probably be another 3 or 4 year plan, but if we can keep together, we need you probably on board just and I was going, oh Jesus, how many times can I just sit and rebuild? And then I actually spoke to Craigie. He was coaching Nord at the time.
Certainly was, yeah.
And he said, mate, I had a quick chat to him, and he said, mate, as long as you've got no aspirations to go with the Crows or pick up a few just for play for the legs. Yep. And he was quite upfront about it. And then I've got mutual friends that Laurie Rosewarne and a few guys, and down the bay, and I kind of sat down with them, and it was a bit of a funny interview because Mark Williams was getting interviewed at the same time, was coaching down at the bay. So when Mark come over from Port, and I go, this is going to be interesting. But he gave me, he gave me an opportunity, and unfortunately, Dad was having a few issues on the farm, came back for a couple of years. Mark was only there for a year, and then Tiny Timers came in.
Yep.
So it was all about, I can see where Mark was coming from with his, his profile.
Process,
process, and it was great to get his side of but unfortunately we had a probably side that could have gone around the mark there, but we got knocked out in the elimination final, and I probably played more reserve games that year than I probably would have liked, and for various reasons, and I was still trying to come back and forth with the farm and working as well, so there was a few didn't quite pan out, so. And then, a couple of years, and then middle of
94 was your last year,
Glenelg, I reckon mid-year I kind of came down. 95 played the second half of the year down at and then I played for another 4 or 5 years down here, retired 3 times, and tried to coach in 2001 and 2 for a few years, and that was interesting being a playing coach, but had other kind of stuff going on with the farm and dads and all that sort of stuff. So
Well, you combine his games, so you combine game total of 255 at senior level, and then 168 for Yank, mate. It's a bit of longevity.
Yeah. And a beautiful boy. Probably paying for it now. I've got a new Matty Liptak put a hip in about 4 years ago, and there's a few joints here that are starting to. I don't run around much anymore, so I play a bit of cricket in the summer months, but that's it's only ones or boundaries. So anyway, first slip to first slip. So but I'm still pretty active with the farm. So I look after a couple of farms down here, and with my son, my youngest son Lockie does a bit of shearing, and my oldest one, he does a bit of umpiring in town. But I kind of love combining the two. So I love it down here, back down to Furio, and that's my my go home to place. So.
Absolutely. Now, mate, it would be remiss that we gloss over this because it's probably one of the great state sides in 1989. Just talking about that experience and some of the players that you played with, I'm looking at it now going, oh, my God, this is a star-studded team, and obviously playing against Victoria there as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, no, that was an experience and a half, conditions were just the atmosphere and the build-up to it. So, and it was just a feeling, and back then it wasn't really probably a true state of origin, but it was a time when, I was lucky enough to play with Michael Blighty and that as an 18-year-old in Perth, and I come out and played a couple, with, at Footy Park. But the MCG one was just it was an ultimate. I know the result wasn't that. Tony Hall got, but Teddy Whitten and everything was just, we were never really going to win that when you got guys like Barron coming on half time at 55. You got Dunstall, Lockett, and it was a super team, and they were never. That was never going to be if we got close, I reckon we would have done real. And a mud pile, that in the Oval, that was back there, almost like playing back in the day down here at Pongy, and playing in that kind of environment. But 95,000, and there was people on the. I didn't realise how big the crowd was until after half time when the game was probably. We knew, but going out on the ground there, you were just a business. You were just in the game motion. But when you went out half time, going, holy shit, it's just and it was a coliseum. And that's what that they are great memories. But I was lucky enough to play. My state games with everyone went to Vancouver. That was more of an all-Australian kind of side, but.
That was when I reckon Bone did his knee in Vancouver.
Yeah, on an artificial turf, back in the day. We're still, but and we're just mates for life with all those kind of experiences. I know from different clubs. So
We'll run through some of the names: Abernathy, Aish, Anderson, Bradley, Delaney, Hall, Hughes, Jarman. Kernahan, Lidner, Lindsay, McGuinness, Micken, Naley, Phillips, Platten, Redden, Smith, Stretch, yourself, and Brebner.
No, it was just
insane.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people said, "Oh, what if we had an AFL side, the Crows, with all those guys back in the early days, but we would have been too strong too, and I know that's just the progress of the game, and that's where I do miss that state of origin format.
Yeah.
I know the NRL can do it, and I know there's that much money and all that there, but I still think
we do miss it. Those of us, the nostalgic of our age would also. You and I are the same age. We do miss it.
That's too much money involved now in that. We all got injured playing in the state games there, but we kind of got through it. But so and I was probably lucky enough to play.
Jack Cale was coach. What was his philosophy, considering you'd obviously been under Jack Odie and a few others?
No, he's hard, but he bit like Cordy was different. Bob had, they're all different, and that's one thing I brought. Even in my philosophy with the footy is just how, he is very much, I know you can do it. You're hard of the body. I know you got the skill. No, I don't have to. You just go there and do it. But you just do it. As long as you do it for the team and don't do it for yourself, you'll come out on top. And he was like that. He said, "You give us your best, and whatever happens, happens." And if you go, he was a believer. Jack was a believer. The Port Adelaide, the Guernsey used to grow another leg. But the state Guernsey used to do that with us too. But you'd walk out. You talk to Jars and that about Andrew, there, and guys like that, and even Platts and like there. Once you put the state Guernsey on, no, it's a different it is a different environment, and you just go out there, and it's a privilege, and you don't want to disappoint anyone, and you get to go 100%. And if it works, it works. Like there's freakish there. There's guys that there's talent. You're there for a reason. They got faith in you. You just go there and give it 100%, and the result will take care of itself.
And you course that state game in Perth where you played with Blighty, where Blighty kicked 7 and Sticks kicked 7, 7 and Blighty kicked 6. Barmy was coach, and Barmy talked Blighty into playing. Part of that was where Barmy said to Blighty, I need a drinking partner as well after the game, and that was enough to get Blighty over the line. And we shitted in.
Well, my roommate was bloody Gary McIntosh, and no ball. I said, mate, I said he had one little kit bag, and I said, we're all wearing blazers, and he's got an open shirt, and I said, no.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I said, no, it's all right. And I've got, and he's one of my greatest rivals on the field. Whenever we play, we just like 2 balls, but afterwards just shake hands and go, too good or well done, and and that's the character. And that's the mate tip, you're going to have for life, whenever you're right.
And you did all right. The two of you did all right having a beer together afterwards. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Well, you got to do that. You got to keep your fluids up.
We'll get to some of your biggest rivals in a minute, but you did mention obviously there that you're back at Yankalilla there, and just give us a bit of a rundown of what you've been doing there and some of your coaching stuff out there.
I've kind of stepped back a little bit. I've been on the committee and coached and that for a while. My son's actually plays A-grade and that down here and that now. So we've had Chad Simmons and a few guys, Lindsay Thomas a couple of years ago. COVID years was pretty tough, and we had some pretty talented guys come in. We had Crabby and a few of the South guys, Little and not Crossy, but and they came down, but it was only very spasmodic. Gotchi and all those guys, but it was just hard gelling. Our biggest problem was just trying to recruit guys from town, because we're at the end of the peninsula. Pongi, they either go to Victor or they go to Pongi, Compass, McLaren Vale. We haven't really got a big
it's a small area,
we've always struggled a bit with our juniors. They're starting to get numbers now with Auskick, and the kids are coming through. It's just holding on to them. You know what it's like. The best ones, they go to South Adelaide, which is what happens. But we've only got 1 or 2. We haven't really got that bigger number to really. We need everyone on board, and I still help out a bit with off-field stuff. I've been on the committees for years and all that side of stuff, but I've kind of stepped back a bit from that. I've got commitments at Patron at Sturt now, so I try and get up to home games up there, but I try and spend my time between. When I go over the scoreboard, sit over the other side, keep away from the coaching side of stuff, because they've got a coach, and I try to give them advice over there, but and kind of encourage. But if any help, if I need a guy on fire, I go and do that. But I still involved, life member there. Still want to see them succeed, but we just got to. We're coming from a long way back, and we just got to try and keep the Great Southern League down here is a very, very strong.
It is a strong league.
Competition. Yeah. It's a strong league. So we just got to try and entice people. Hopefully, a new coach for next year, Chad Simmons, has been coaching here for the last couple of years. Has gone to Edwardstown.
Yeah, I saw that.
But hopefully somebody will come in and maybe saying we just need tools for some reason. We just don't grow. Strathhouse seem to have tools, and Pongi, must have there. They got the milk up there, but we just got little midgets down here, unfortunately.
Need to feed them a lot more chicken, mate.
Yeah. Well, we get a few from Kangaroo Island that are good fellas, but it's just a fair commitment for them to come over there as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I've still got a soft wit. I still want to see them succeed, but it's gonna.
I think Yankalilla will always be in your blood, Whittles, to the last day. Your last day you're with us. Yeah, well and truly.
Yeah.
Righto, Greg. On our way of
finishing up the interviews. Yep.
Give us best players played with, and then best player, and then hardest opponent.
And you can do
three
or four players from each.
Right. Okay. I used to. Macca was always a hard unit. Like I love the competition whenever I fronted up with him. Bones was always good, but I always used to rove off Super Carey, and Bones used to hate that. I used to super, but a lot of respect for Bones, work ethic and there. Back pocket, state footy, come across, Michael Mitchell he was just so damn quick.
He was explosive,
Little fella, and I stood him in that state game at Perth, and no, thank God we kicked. But Brian Peake and all those guys, I ran across him a few times. But as a youngster, I still remember Bob Beecroft. He was playing coach down at Woodville.
Yep.
And I think it was he was mistaken identity, but I got a sharp elbow just walking back, and something must happen in the back, and their trainer's gone, "Oh, sorry, mate, I reckon that was the wrong guy." But I got a blood nose out of it. But he was hard, but he was a playing coach back then. I had tussles, like Simsy and like Ant and like Stephen Sims and all that there.
Yeah.
Catch up with them after grain, but always. I never really had guys that really tagged me, Rowies and that, from AC had those kind of issues. I've kind of went more on head to head with guys, which but I think every opponent kind of you try and just you just try your best and come out on top. As I was saying, and Cornsey said, when you play footy, man, if 10 of you break even with your opponent and 5 or 6 of you actually get on top of it, 9 times out of 10 you'll win the game.
Yeah.
And that's best play. And that's guys that I played with. We had you talk about Motts, you talk about Jumbo. Yeah. Jumbo was different, but Ian Wilmot was kicking 120 goals in the reserves, under 19.
Yeah.
Comes up and kicks 10 goals a game when Jumbo wasn't playing. They kind of freak. And they're a freak of nature.
Of course, you played with Flash as well.
Yeah, Flash.
Flash.
Yeah, Flash, Graham, and I played. Like Eddie Fry. You go through the 80s. Talon Craigie was a fitness freak, but then you got explosive guys that just had ability, we all had different kind of, we had school teachers, we had, and you had sports, guys walking in sports store, all different cosmetics, but it all come to one cause. And with the skill side of stuff, I was always probably more physical. I like more the physical kind of aspect of it, but and that's where I enjoy probably ruck roving out of the back pocket with my ideal fix with guys like Brucey Lennon.
Yeah.
I'd have 10 minutes on, he'd go for 10 minutes, and then I'd come back on and have a break. And that back in the 80s, that's when I played my best footy, and that seemed to fitness-wise and but I played with talented guys like Scotty Russell, and they've all kind of gone on and played footy in the AFL, and played well, in some very good competitions. So.
And Pete, I reckon I was there. I don't know why I was there. You dominated a game against Port. And Sturt bolted in, but you played back pocket and absolutely dominated. And you blocked a lot of Evans' leads that day and had a huge day.
Yeah, that was only oval. There were about 17,000 or something there.
Yeah.
And I stood by Bucky Cunningham and old Reb. I still remember. Cole Casey was standing Reb, and Granger was up the other end, which was good. I don't know who was standing there, but I was up there. But I took about 15 marks or something, and I was just feeling, and old Reb just said, for Christ's sake, I get this young little, but that was all about, just going for everything back then, and Case was doing a lot of the blocking, and I was lucky enough to take a few marks and end up running through and kicking the goal in the last quarter or something, and there was a. But 17,000, as you say, like an only oval, and they were all around the pavilion, and back in those days, the atmosphere was just unbelievable, and it was I think we only won by 5 or 6 goals in the end, but we kicked 25 or something, but you guys still kicked, Port still kicked 18.
Port
It was just an awesome game. So, and it was just flat out.
Mate, one last question to get you out of here. Can you list a couple of your favourite SNFL grounds? Because there is some history there.
Grounds.
Yeah, you like playing at. You did mention earlier that you liked Port Adelaide, but
Port Adelaide. Centrals was always intriguing, going out there. So I said to the guys, even when I was captain, I said, "Righto, guys, bottom of the stairs." Well, flat out till we get out of the centre, because you didn't know whether it was beer or urine kind of coming out of the cup down the raceway. So once we got out there, no, it was still good. Ponderosa, I think it's changed a bit now. Adelaide Oval's still one of my best. I still loved it. Back in the day, like Anzac, I still remember playing Anzac games there, after the marches are there. Some of that, they were back in the grand final, but even some of the long weekend games, it was still iconic back then. And only was always a favourite, because that's where you train and that's where you kind of do all your work. But Footy Park was always hard, it's always different, with that kind of stadium set up, facilities back in the day.
Yep.
But I prefer the older I got, the probably smaller grounds probably suited me better. So.
All right, mate. Greatly appreciated, Whittles. And
good to catch up, guys. So anytime, what are you going to do in your off season now, guys?
I'm cricket with Payneham. And,
right. So you've changed your hat, so back the strikers and all the that's all happening now. So
a bit of lawn bowls and a bit of tennis thrown in there. Happy days.
I'm not into that yet. Good to catch up, guys.
Absolutely.
So, no worries.
Greatly appreciated, Whittles.
All right, guys. No worries.
Thanks, Craig.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Liking this podcast? Please like, rate, and subscribe.